So we can't chalk this up to context because we have an actual application of somebody giving Jesus everything, saying this is not worth the year's wages to me. It's more worth to me to give it to you to prepare for your burial. So the question is for each of us, what do you have, either in your wallet, your driveway, or in your house, your apartment, your dorm room, that you are not willing to give? What if it's a relationship? What if it's not just money? What if it's something, it's what you place value in, right? I mean, this wasn't a bag of money that she just dumped on his feet. This was something that was valued to her. She gave it all. So in your mind's eye right now, I want you to just think about the thing you most treasure. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to give it to me. Okay? But I want you to just think about this for a moment. What is it that you most treasure? God asked for this repeatedly in the Scriptures. I mean, it was why Abraham had to take Isaac to the mountain. Because God knew Abraham was starting to treasure Isaac more than God. Okay? I mean, this happens repeatedly. God saying, I know you like that, but what about me? And there is honesty to it. God is a jealous God. Meaning He wants your heart 100%. So just for a moment, process in your mind, what is it that you value so much so that you would not give it to God? I want to read you a story as you think about this. This article in this magazine, I get it, it's called Relevant. If you want to get a pretty good magazine, pick it up. There's a conversation about gluttony in it. And in it, there's a conversation about Martha's Act. 3 days. A few days before Jesus' death, a young woman named Mary pulled out her only treasure and broke it at his feet. The white jar filled with very expensive perfume had been her mother's. It was the last thing she had to remember her by. It may have been her grandmother's, perhaps even her great-grandmother's. The jar was her ancestry. And she probably hoped to give it to a daughter of her own. More than anything else, the jar was her future. It held the precious perfume representing her ability to gain a husband. Without the jar, she would have to live with her brother for the rest of her years. Without it, she would become an object of mockery at gatherings. Her lack of a husband would ring loudly in her mind as she entered the synagogue or observed celebrations and holidays alone. Without the jar and its contents, no one would see her as beautiful. No one would desire her. We might say that in the jar were Mary's identity, her status, and all the hopes of being united to a good man. The house was full when she entered. Her brother Lazarus was reclining at the table with Jesus. The disciples sat with one another, excited about the festival and the impending revolution. Remember, they're thinking coup. She approached Jesus and looked into his eyes. She broke the jar, pouring the precious perfume. The party hushed as the room filled with the fragrance. She let down her hair. Kind of skipped this part, but she let down her hair, shaming herself. Her brother and her family. She She began to wipe Jesus' feet with the oils, and everyone watched. No one approved. One man spoke for all, calling the act a waste. Jesus silenced them. Leave her alone. She has done a beautiful thing to me. She has prepared my body for burial. But she seemed to know what everyone else did not. This man who had done so much for her would soon die, and her knowledge made the gift even more profound. By breaking the jar, she wrote out her future as one consisting of a life of poverty, scorn, and loneliness. She chose to die for the sake of the soon-to-be dead man before her. The jar represented her union with a good man, fulfilled its true purpose, and in dying to herself, she was united to Christ. Christ means anointed one. And it was in this act of total self-giving love that the anointing took place. Kind of gives a little bit more life to just some jar of perfume sitting on a mantle. Now I just ask, what would you not be willing to sell? What if God asked you for your future? What if He asked you for your career? What if He asked you for the whole sum of your being? Would you be willing to give it? In this context, I think it makes this a lot easier. The least we can do is pool our resources to help out who needs help. The least we can do is to sell the temporary for the eternal. So you're thinking about that thing that you would be unwilling to give. And can you put that in perspective of what that woman gave a couple nights before Jesus was to die? It was her heritage, her ancestry, her future, her dowry, her claim to a good man. She gave it up. And it wasn't like, and this is what he was trying to get at there, it wasn't like he was going to be around for another 50 years to hang out with. She knew in a couple days he was going to die. That's why she did it. She traded her ancestry, her future, her security, and everything that was about her for 2 or 3 more days. Challenging. It's amazing when many of us think about the heroes of the Bible, and they think about these superhero guys who are, out starting churches. You got Elijah seeing God in the mountain, and Moses wandering 40 years. But in reality, this one gave just as much, if not more, than any of those guys did. And it's a shame because there's a general historical sexism against what women gave in the Bible. Judas gets more press than her.